This is my sixth lecture on the poem Elegy Written in Country Churchyard by Thomas Gray. I have been trying to explain you each and every line of the poem. Today I would begin with a fresh stanza. The struggling pangs of conscious truth to hide, to quench the blushes of ingenuous shame, or heap the shrine of luxury and pride with incense kindled at the muse flame. The struggling pangs of conscious truth to hide. As I had earlier discussed with you, the poet is trying to build an argument that it had been a boon in disguise that these people did not get much opportunity to be very ambitious, and in order to fulfill their ambitions, they were not corrupt or they did not commit the guilt of committing heinous crimes or shedding blood of their own countrymen or being unfaithful with their own country. Now he says the struggling pangs of conscious truth to hide. He says when you are great or you are a great statesman, you are working for your own ambition. What happens is you have struggling pangs. You are conscious because you are deceiving your own people or you are deceiving your own country, and somewhere your own conscience does not allow you to do it. So you are all the time have a struggle inside you to quench the blush of ingenuous shame. Now what happens when you are guilty, when you are corrupt, when you are selfish? Then what happens is the fact that you are shameful within yourself. You feel ashamed of doing such a thing, and your conscience always strikes you. And this struggle keeps on going within yourself. But if you are innocent and you are living a simple life, you somewhere are exempt of such struggles or such strifes. Or heap the shrine of luxury and pride. Here luxury and pride start with capital letters. They have been personified. Or heap the shrine. Shrine means the temple. What happens? Your temples are of luxury and pride. Means you do not have any faith or any fear of God left in you. What is left in you is your running after luxury, you're running after pride. That becomes your God. Money becomes your God. Power becomes your God. So you are after luxury and pride rather than after any God. With incense kindled at muse flame, and you kindle an incense at the muse flame. Muse is poetry, or muse is used for any art. Muse is used for knowledge. So what happens? You are not using your knowledge, or you are not using your power or your talent or your skill for good things. You are using incense of this knowledge at the cost of a nation or at the cost of the blood of the people of the nation, and you become corrupt and you are trying to appease your own selfish motives. Far from the madding crowd's ignoble strife. Madding crowd is the word, is the phrase which has been used by Wordsworth also in his poems. And he says that we do not have any time to look at nature, and we are after materialistic pursuit day and night. But here the poet says, far from the madding crowd's ignoble strife. He says that these people, they did not follow any race. They were not part of a madding crowd which was into an ignoble strife ignoble, which is immoral, strife, struggle, or war. Their sober wishes never learned to stray. Their wishes were sober. They did not have wild ambitions in their heart, and they never strayed. They did not become wayward. Along the cool, sequestered vale of life, they have a valley of life which is cool, sequestered, which is an abode of peace, which is hidden and which is peaceful. They kept the noiseless tenor of their way. Now, what happens? This noiseless tenor, this this burning ambition which is there in you, which makes you run after money or which makes you run after materialistic pursuits. This noiseless tenor was kept away from these people because they did not have much exposure to such type of life, and in a way it proved nice for them that they were saved from lot many crimes. Yet even these bones from insult to protect. Now what happens? People do not realize this, and there are people who call them rustics. There are people who call them uncivilized. There are people who call them that uneducated or illiterate. So these bones should be protected from such insult, the bones which are lying in these graves. Some frail memorial still erected nigh. They do not have big tombstones or memorials erected in their memory. Even if there is a memorial for them that is very weak or very frail, which is erected nigh somewhere nearby, with uncouth rhymes. Now there are no poets to write for them, so whatever is written for them is uncouth, is not very refined. Rhymes, poem, or lines written for them, and shapeless sculptures decked, and even some monument, if it is there put at all. These monuments are shapeless, sculptures decorated, implores the passing tribute of a sigh. Now, the tribute which is paid to these departed souls with a sigh, with a feeling that they are no more. These tributes are very ordinary or very simple, as the memorial erected in their memory or anything written on their graves. They are very simple, they are uncouth, unrefined, because the people who write for them are same as they were. They are also villagers, they are rustic people, and they are not much exposed to education, or they are not much exposed to rhyming or writing poems, because they were devoid of knowledge. The book of knowledge has not rolled its pages for them, and these people, they remained untouched by the splendors of knowledge, or the great world of knowledge. But in a way, whatever they did was important in itself, and somewhere even their contribution to life shall not be ignored, and they should be praised for whatever they did, because they were at least not sinful of their country's blood. They were not at least sinful of cheating someone. They were at least not people who were all the time fighting with their conscience, or they were not the people who were looting their people and making them poor all the more, or they were not the people who were planning or scheming against their own countrymen. So somewhere these people, even if they were not very great people, or even if whatever they did was not very great, these people were simple souls, and they were not after the gods of luxury, or they were not after the gods of pride. Their gods were not the gods of money, but their gods were gods of mankind, who loved mankind, and they remained kind. They did not become cruel, they did not become blind in their rage. So somewhere these people, by being circumscribed to their fate, by being restricted to their fate, by being in their narrow regions, just now as they are in their narrow cells, in their graves. These people, by being in their restricted area, in their restricted villages, they were not exposed to various sins of life, and that is why these there lies the beauty of the lives of these people. So they should also be remembered, and they should also be noticed by people for being simple and for being truthful or being kind to the humankind. Thank you.